The Vixari Empire was vast, stretching across hundreds of star systems. Their ships were powerful, their technology advanced, and their arrogance even greater. The Vixari believed they were the strongest in the galaxy. There was no one who could challenge them. For centuries, they had conquered planet after planet, bending every civilization that they encountered to their will. But all that was about to change. In the far corner of the galaxy, a small blue planet, Earth, had caught their attention. It was a quiet world, untouched by the chaos of interstellar wars. From the Vixari's view, Earth was a simple, primitive place. The humans living there seemed weak, stuck on a single planet, and just beginning to venture into space. The Vixari didn't think much of them. They're just a bunch of animals, barely capable of traveling beyond their own sky, said General Rizar, a high-ranking officer in the Vixari military, as he looked at a holographic map of Earth. Send in the fleet. It'll be easy. The Emperor of the Vixari, a being of immense power and pride, agreed. He had seen many worlds fall to his empire, and he was certain this one would be no different. With a wave of his hand, he gave the command for the invasion to begin. The Emperor wasn't worried. How could he be? The humans had no chance against the might of the Vixari. As the fleet made its way toward Earth, the Vixari didn't even consider the possibility that the humans might fight back. Their ships were massive, their weapons could destroy entire cities in seconds, and their soldiers were trained for every situation. What could a group of primitive humans do against such power? But on Earth, things were not as they seemed. When the Vixari fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system, they did not meet with the expected silence. Instead, a message appeared on their communications channels. The message was short but clear. Leave now or face the consequences. General Rizar stared at the message, shocked. He'd expected Earth's leaders to beg for mercy, or maybe offer some kind of tribute. But instead, they were being mourned by humans. Who dares send such a message? Rizar growled, not used to being challenged. Do they not know who we are? The Emperor chuckled, though there was a hint of annoyance in his voice. A warning. How quaint. But it changes nothing. Prepare the fleet for the next phase. The Vixari launched a series of probes and smaller ships toward Earth, seeking to scout the planet and disable any defenses before the main invasion force arrived. But something unexpected happened. Earth wasn't as defenseless as they thought. A series of strange signals began to fill the space around Earth, signals that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The Vixari had never encountered such technology before. Their ships began to lose their way, sensors malfunctioning, and navigational systems glitching. It was as if invisible walls were being raised around Earth, blocking their every move. Inside Earth's command center, the world's top scientists and military leaders had been working for months to prepare for this moment. They had known the Vixari might come one day, and though they had no experience in galactic warfare, they had something far more valuable: creativity and determination. Dr. Sarah Tan, a lead engineer, sat at the head of a team of engineers, monitoring the Vixari fleet's movements. We didn't expect them to arrive this soon, she said, her fingers flying over the controls. But we've made some progress on our stealth technology. It's working. They can't track us. Captain Mark Lawson, who had just been promoted to oversee Earth's space forces, stood by her side, looking out at the view of the approaching alien ships. They're coming in too fast. They'll land before we're ready. We need to slow them down. Tan nodded. We've already done the best we can. But don't underestimate the humans. We may be small compared to their empire, but we're resourceful. We'll find a way to fight back. Captain Lawson agreed. He had no illusions about what would happen if the Vixari made it to the surface. Earth's people had warned them. The time for talking was over. Now, it was time to show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. As the first Vixari ships descended into the atmosphere, a strange stillness filled the air. For a moment, everything seemed to slow down, but the silence was broken by the roar of humanity's first strike. a fleet of human ships, equipped with innovative stealth technology and powerful experimental weapons, emerged from hiding. They took the Vixari by surprise, attacking swiftly and strategically. The Vixari Empire, so sure of their victory, suddenly found themselves in a fight for their lives. And to their shock, the humans were not running. They were fighting back. The Vixari were stunned. They had come expecting an easy victory, but what they found was something completely different. Earth wasn't defenseless. In fact, humanity's response to their invasion was swift, well-organized, and unexpectedly strong. The first wave of Vixari ships, designed for overwhelming force, was ambushed before it could even land on the planet. As the Vixari ships tried to maneuver, they were caught off guard by Earth's hidden fleet. The humans had not only hidden their ships, but had also deployed a new form of stealth technology that the Vixari had never encountered before. Their ships were practically invisible to Vixari sensors. The humans had used their knowledge of local space to their advantage, hiding in asteroid fields and among the debris of long-forgotten space stations. Captain Mark Lawson watched in disbelief as the first Vixari ship came into view, only to be struck by a barrage of powerful energy blasts from Earth's newly developed stealth fighters. The Vixari ship groaned, its hull buckling under the impact, before it exploded into a fiery cloud of debris. The humans had prepared. They were not the helpless beings the Vixari had imagined. On the Vixari flagship, General Rizar was furious. His fleet had been caught by surprise. "What is happening?" he shouted, gripping the edge of the control panel as another Vixari ship was struck by an invisible attack. "Where are their ships? How are they doing this?" The Vixari officers at the controls scrambled, trying to find a solution. But nothing worked. The human stealth ships seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Rizar's fleet was outnumbered and outmaneuvered, their sensors and weapons useless against the Earth ship's strange tactics. "Get the fleet into formation. We cannot let them take the initiative," Rizar barked. But it was too late. The humans had already shifted their tactics. They used the confusion to attack the Vixari's weak points, weapon systems, and shields. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Tan watched the battle unfold on a massive holographic display. The early success of their surprise attack had emboldened the human forces. The unexpected strength of humanity's defense was starting to make the Vixari nervous, but Dr. Tan knew this was only the beginning. The Vixari would not back down easily. "We've hit them hard, but they're still strong," Dr. Tan said, her voice calm but serious. "We need to keep pushing. We can't let them regroup." Captain Lawson nodded. He had seen what the humans were capable of in this battle, but the Vixari were relentless. If Earth's forces didn't act quickly, they would face a much larger assault. And that was a situation humanity was not prepared for, yet. The Vixari, realizing they were losing ground, made a swift decision. General Rizar called for reinforcements, and within minutes, a second fleet arrived, more powerful and better armed than the first. Their ships were larger, their weapons more advanced, and they were coming in fast. The Vixari Empire was not about to let a single defeat stop them from claiming Earth. "We'll crush them," Rizar muttered, watching as his fleet's reinforcements jumped into the battle. No human force can stand against the might of the Vixari. But Captain Lawson and his crew had a different plan. Humanity had spent years preparing for this moment, using every ounce of ingenuity to develop new weapons and tactics. Earth's leaders knew they didn't have the luxury of time. Every second counted. With the arrival of the Vixari reinforcements, the battle had entered a new phase. Earth's ships, though smaller and less powerful than the Vixari reinforcements, used their speed and maneuverability to outsmart the much larger ships. Instead of direct combat, humanity focused on outwitting their enemies. They launched traps, using asteroid fields to hide their ships, and launched surprise strikes at the Vixari reinforcements. General Rizar's second fleet had made a critical mistake. They were too confident. They didn't expect the humans to think on their feet and act as quickly as they did. Earth's fleets attacked from all directions, forcing the Vixari into a defensive position. Back on Earth, the mood was tense but hopeful. Humanity had proven they could fight. Now, they had to prove they could win. "Keep it up," Captain Lawson encouraged his crew. "We can do this. We can push them back." Despite the increasing number of Vixari ships, the humans had no intention of backing down. They weren't just defending their planet anymore. They were fighting for their future, for their very survival. And this battle, this first engagement, would show the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Vixari had made a dangerous mistake by underestimating Earth. The war was far from over, but humanity had made its message clear. They were not just a peaceful species. They were a species worth fighting for, and no empire, no matter how mighty, would ever take that away. The first battle had been a shock to the Vixari. They had underestimated humanity, believing Earth to be nothing more than a minor outpost in the galaxy. But now, they faced an enemy who refused to back down. And the once proud Vixari Empire was struggling to cope with the unexpected resistance. The humans had shown they could fight back, but that was only the beginning. Back on Earth, leaders and scientists gathered for a crucial meeting. The war was far from over. Humanity's defense had managed to catch the Vixari off guard, but Earth's forces knew that the real challenge had only just begun. The Vixari would send reinforcements, and with each passing day, they would grow stronger. At the top of the command center, Dr. Sarah Tan stood with her team, scanning data from the recent battle. Her eyes narrowed as she examined the Vixari fleet's movements. "They'll adapt," she said softly, her voice steady but filled with concern. "And when they do, they'll come at us with everything they have." Captain Mark Lawson stood beside her, looking at the holographic map that filled the room. The Vixari's second wave had been a close call. They were learning quickly, and humanity's initial advantage might not last much longer. He sighed, knowing what had to be done. "We need something more. We can't just keep reacting. We need a way to strike first." Dr. Tan nodded, her mind racing. "You're right. The only way we can win this is with something the Vixari won't expect. Something beyond what they've seen from us so far." "What do you have in mind?" Captain Lawson asked, his voice full of anticipation. Tan's face lit up with a spark of determination. Project Aegis. Project Aegis had been humanity's secret weapon, developed over the past few years as a last-ditch effort to defend Earth against any outside threat. It was a top-secret initiative, funded by all of Earth's nations, and its goal was to create a fleet of advanced warships, powered by a new type of energy. The ships would be faster, stronger, and more deadly than anything the Vixari had ever encountered. The core of the project was a revolutionary new energy source, fusion-based technology combined with quantum manipulation. The energy could power weapons capable of disabling enemy ships with a single strike, and it could also make the ships themselves nearly invisible to enemy sensors. It was the perfect counter to the Vixari's superior technology. But building the fleet had taken time. Time Earth didn't have. The fleet had been secretly assembled in deep space, hidden from the Vixari's prying eyes. Now it was ready for deployment. "We can't wait any longer," Captain Lawson said. "We'll launch the fleet tonight, but we'll need to be careful. We'll only get one chance." Tan smiled. "I know, and that's why we've been preparing for this moment. The Vixari will never see it coming." As the hours passed, the humans worked in a frenzy, coordinating their attack plan and ensuring that every ship was ready. The Project Aegis fleet, a force unlike anything the Vixari had ever seen, would soon be deployed. Meanwhile, the Vixari Empire was preparing its own forces for another large-scale attack. General Razar, still recovering from the previous defeat, was overseeing the preparations. He was more determined than ever to crush the human resistance. "We will not fail this time," he muttered to himself. "The humans have proven they can fight, but they have no idea what's coming." He ordered his fleet to move closer to Earth, readying them for a final strike. They would bombard the planet from orbit and bring the humans to their knees. Back on Earth, Captain Lawson stood in front of his crew, his voice calm but filled with confidence. The Vixeri think they can take us down. They think they know everything about us. But they've never faced a force like Project Aegis. As the human fleet slipped out of Earth's orbit and into deep space, they entered the shadow of a nearby moon, where they would remain hidden until the right moment. With stealth technology and their new energy weapons, they would be ready to strike. When the time came, Captain Lawson gave the signal. The Aegis fleet burst out of hiding, faster than the Vixeri could track. The advanced warships were equipped with energy weapons capable of disabling enemy shields and firing high-powered beams that could tear through the Vixeri fleet with ease. The first Vixeri ship to engage with the Aegis fleet was instantly caught off guard. Its shields were overloaded by a single blast from one of the new human weapons. The ship was disabled in seconds, its energy systems drained. The Vixeri were completely unprepared for such a weapon. Razar watched in horror as the humans struck with deadly precision. "What is this?" He screamed as one of his largest ships was torn apart by the unexpected attack. Captain Lawson's voice rang through the comms, his words cold and resolute. "We warned you. Now you'll feel the full force of humanity." As the battle unfolded, the Vixeri found themselves on the defensive for the first time. Humanity's Project Aegis was not just a weapon. It was a game-changer. And the Vixeri Empire, once certain of victory, now realized that the humans were a force to be reckoned with. The humans had struck the Vixeri hard. And for the first time in the history of their empire, the mighty invaders found themselves on the defensive. Project Aegis, Earth's secret weapon, had turned the tide of the battle in a way no one expected. The Vixeri had never faced a foe like humanity. Quick thinking, adaptable, and full of surprises. But the victory was not yet certain. The Vixeri were regrouping, and they were determined to finish what they had started. On Earth, the sense of relief was brief. Captain Mark Lawson stood in the command center, watching the battle unfold on a giant screen. The Vixeri had been pushed back, but their reinforcements were arriving fast, and they were bringing new ships with advanced technology. The humans had made a mark, but the war was far from over. "Report, Dr. Tan," Captain Lawson said, turning to the lead scientist. Dr. Sarah Tan was staring at the data, her face serious. "They've adapted quicker than we expected. Their shields are stronger now, and their new ships are much faster. We'll need to rethink our strategy if we're going to keep winning." Lawson nodded. The humans had done well so far, but the Vixeri were not the type to give up easily. "We need to stay one step ahead," he said, more to himself than anyone else. Dr. Tan turned to him, her eyes bright with determination. "We will. We've prepared for this. We just need time to complete the next phase of our plan." In space, the Vixeri were not wasting time. General Razar had finally come to terms with the fact that the humans were a real threat. His fleet had been defeated before, but it would not happen again. The Vixeri were a powerful empire, and they would show the humans the full extent of their might. "We underestimated them," Razar muttered, clenching his fists in frustration. "Now we will crush them. Prepare the fleet for our final push." As Razar made his preparations, Captain Lawson and Dr. Tan continued to work on their next move. Humanity's Aegis fleet had given them a fighting chance, but they could not rely on it forever. The Vixeri's new ships were fast and powerful, and they would have to use more than just strength to win. "Time is running out," Dr. Tan said as she examined the data. "We need to deploy the new energy disruptors. If we can disable their shields, we might be able to take them down quickly." Captain Lawson paced around the command center. He understood the stakes, but he also understood the Vixeri. They weren't just invaders. They were calculating, relentless, and proud. They wouldn't give up easily, and their final attack would be their fiercest. As the Vixeri fleet prepared for its next assault, humanity's forces launched a daring counterattack. The Aegis fleet, now equipped with the latest upgrades, slipped through the Vixeri defenses and struck from unexpected angles. Using the gravity wells of nearby planets, the human ships made themselves almost invisible to the Vixeri, allowing them to launch surprise strikes before retreating into the shadows of space. General Razar watched in frustration as his fleet struggled to track down the elusive humans. "Why can't we catch them?" he growled. "They're everywhere and nowhere at the same time." The humans had learned to use their environment to their advantage. They had turned the battlefield into something the Vixeri had never expected, a maze of dangerous space terrain and hidden traps. The humans were using the very stars to outsmart their enemies. But even the most brilliant strategies had limits. The Vixeri were learning from their mistakes, adapting quickly to human tactics. Soon, the Vixeri ships were coordinating their movements better, using advanced tracking systems to follow the human fleet's movements. "We need to end this soon," Lawson said as he watched the Vixeri forces closing in on their position. "They're starting to figure us out." Dr. Tan nodded. "We're ready for the next phase. The disruptors are online. If we hit them with everything we've got, we can disable their shields and take them down once and for all." As the Vixeri fleet moved into position, Captain Lawson knew that this would be the deciding moment. There was no turning back now. They had to strike hard and fast if they wanted to win. The final battle began as the Vixeri fleet approached Earth's defenses. Human ships emerged from hiding, firing at full power. The energy disruptors hit the Vixeri shields, sending shockwaves through their ships. For a moment, the Vixeri fleet was stunned, their shields flickering and faltering. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for. "We've got them," Captain Lawson shouted as the human fleet moved in for the kill. The Vixeri ships, now vulnerable, were easy targets for the powerful energy blasts of the Aegis fleet. General Razar watched in horror as his fleet was overwhelmed. "No, this can't be happening," he yelled, but it was too late. The humans were too strong, too clever. One by one, the Vixeri ships were destroyed, their shields unable to protect them from the onslaught. The turning point had arrived, and the Vixeri Empire had underestimated humanity. The humans were not just defending their world. They were fighting for survival, for their future, and for the future of every other civilization in the galaxy. And as the last of the Vixeri ships fell, Earth's forces knew they had won. For now, the Vixeri Empire had fallen back, their fleet in disarray after humanity's surprise counterattack. Earth's victory was a moment of triumph, but the war was far from over. General Razar, defeated but far from broken, was already planning his next move. The Vixeri were an ancient and powerful race. They didn't give up easily, and the humans knew this battle was only one chapter in a much larger war. On Earth, Captain Mark Lawson stood before a large holographic map of the galaxy, the glowing red dots of the Vixeri fleet scattered across it like a warning. Even after the recent victory, he could see that the enemy was regrouping. "They won't stay down for long," he muttered, his voice heavy with the weight of the situation. Dr. Sarah Tan, who had been analyzing the data from the recent battle, looked up from her console. "We've won some important victories, but the Vixeri aren't going to just fade away," she said. "They'll come back with everything they have. We need a plan. We need to finish this," Captain Lawson replied. "If we don't stop them now, they'll come back stronger than before. They'll never stop until they've conquered Earth." The human forces had proven themselves in battle, but now they faced the challenge of dealing with a foe that refused to accept defeat. General Razar's defeat had been a blow, but it wasn't the end. Humanity's intelligence and innovation had caught the Vixeri off guard, but the invaders weren't just going to let one defeat define their empire. On the Vixeri flagship, General Razar was already gathering his forces. His eyes burned with determination. "The humans think they've won. They think they've defeated us," he said to his officers. "But they are wrong. They do not understand the power of the Vixeri. We are an empire that has survived centuries. One defeat will not break us." He looked out into space, his mind racing with plans. The Vixeri had a secret weapon, one they had kept hidden from the humans, a powerful fleet of warships designed to turn the tide in their favor. These ships were faster, stronger, and equipped with weapons that could easily pierce through Earth's defenses. The time had come to unleash that power. "We will strike at their homeworld," Razar declared. "We will make them regret ever standing against us. The humans have awakened the full fury of the Vixeri Empire. Let's show them what it means to challenge us." As the Vixeri prepared their attack, humanity's leaders were equally determined to defend their planet. A meeting was called with representatives from every nation. The room was filled with the leaders of Earth's military, scientists, and strategists. They knew that the next few days would be crucial to humanity's survival. "We can't afford to lose," said Captain Lawson, addressing the room. "We've beaten them before, but they've regrouped. This next battle will be the most dangerous yet." Dr. Tan stood up, her face serious but resolute. "The Vixeri will come at us with everything they have. We need to push them back once and for all. But we need to act quickly. Their reinforcements are already on their way." "We'll need every ship we can get," Lawson replied. "Prepare the fleet. We can't afford any mistakes." The atmosphere in the room was tense, but there was also a shared sense of resolve. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, but this time they had something that the Vixeri didn't: unity and determination. The human race had learned to work together in ways they never had before, and now it was their greatest strength. On the battlefield, the stage was set for a final showdown. Both sides were preparing for an all-out war that would decide the fate of Earth and the galaxy itself. General Razar's fleet moved toward Earth, a vast armada of ships, each one capable of destroying entire cities with a single strike. But Earth's forces weren't backing down. As the first wave of Vixeri ships entered Earth's atmosphere, humanity's Aegis fleet took position, ready to defend their homeworld. The battle was about to begin. Captain Lawson's voice echoed through the comms. "All units, prepare for combat. This is it. This is the fight for humanity's future. We fought for our survival. Now, let's show the galaxy that Earth will not be conquered." The Vixeri fleet surged forward, their weapons charging for the attack. They had lost before, but this time they were going to make sure there was no escape. Their massive warships fired their energy beams, tearing through the vast expanse of space toward Earth. But the humans were ready. The Aegis fleet activated their shields, absorbing the initial barrage of attacks. Earth's defenses held, but the pressure was building. The Vixeri were relentless, and their ships kept coming. Each wave was stronger than the last, but the humans fought back with everything they had. In the heart of the battle, Captain Lawson and Dr. Tan worked together, analyzing the Vixeri's movements. The enemy's fleet was powerful, but the humans knew their enemy's tactics. They had studied the Vixeri and learned their weaknesses. It was time to use that knowledge. "We're hitting them hard, but we need to take out their command ship," Dr. Tan said, pointing to the massive flagship of the Vixeri fleet on the holographic display. Lawson nodded. "That's the key to ending this. If we destroy that ship, the rest of their fleet will collapse." The final confrontation had begun. It was now or never. Earth's future rested on this battle, and humanity would not go down without a fight. The battle between the Vixeri and humanity had reached its breaking point. Both sides were locked in a fierce struggle, but the outcome of this war was uncertain. The Vixeri, having suffered major losses, were more determined than ever to defeat the humans. And the humans, having tasted victory, knew that they could not afford to lose. Captain Mark Lawson stood in the heart of Earth's command center, eyes fixed on the holographic display in front of him. The Vixeri fleet had broken through Earth's outer defenses, and the Aegis fleet had been forced to fall back, the pressure mounting with each passing minute. His mind raced, calculating their next move. Time was running out, and humanity's survival depended on this next strike. "We can't let them get to the planet," Lawson said, his voice filled with urgency. If we lose Earth, it's all over. Dr. Sarah Tan, standing beside him, agreed. We've prepared for this moment, but we need to act quickly. The Vixari fleet is overwhelming, and they've got the firepower to destroy us all if we don't take them out soon. The Vixari had launched their final assault on Earth, sending wave after wave of ships toward the planet's surface. Their command ship, the largest and most powerful in their fleet, led the charge. If the humans could destroy that ship, they could cripple the entire Vixari fleet. But getting to it would be no easy task. In space, the Aegis fleet moved into position. The remaining human warships were battered from previous battles, but they were not about to give up. The crew members had seen their families and friends threatened by the Vixari invasion, and they knew this was the fight for their future. Captain Lawson gave the order. All ships target the Vixari command ship. We need to take it down before it reaches Earth. The Aegis fleet split into smaller groups, each one assigned to a specific task. Some ships engaged the Vixari's outer fleet, keeping them occupied while others made their way to the heart of the enemy formation. The human ships moved with precision, coordinating their attacks to avoid the Vixari's powerful counterstrikes. Dr. Tan watched the battle unfold on the screen, her mind racing. We need to disable their shields first, she said. If we can do that, we'll have a chance. Lawson nodded. The Vixari shields had been reinforced since the last battle, and they had become nearly impenetrable. But the Aegis fleet had a secret weapon, an experimental energy disruptor that could disable the Vixari shields for a limited time. It was humanity's best shot at defeating the invaders. The energy disruptor was loaded onto the lead ship of the Aegis fleet, and the crew prepared for the most dangerous maneuver yet. The lead ship, the Defiant, would fly directly into the heart of the Vixari fleet, drawing the enemy's fire and giving the other ships a chance to strike. On my mark, Captain Lawson said. Prepare to engage. The Defiant surged forward, its engines glowing as it cut through space at high speed. The Vixari ships took notice, immediately shifting their focus to the bold human ship. Energy blasts fired from the Vixari fleet, but the Defiant's shields held strong, absorbing the attack as it continued on its path. Dr. Tan monitored the disruptor systems. Ready. Now, she called out. With a single command, the Defiant released the energy disruptor, sending a powerful wave of energy toward the Vixari command ship. The wave hit its target, and for a brief moment, the Vixari shields flickered and weakened. It was just enough for the human fleet to strike. Fire, Captain Lawson ordered. The Aegis fleet unleashed everything they had, sending wave after wave of energy blasts at the vulnerable command ship. The Vixari returned fire, but their attacks were ineffective without the protection of their shields. One by one, the human ships struck, hitting the command ship's weak spots. On the Vixari flagship, General Razar saw the destruction unfolding before him. His flagship, once a symbol of power, was now on the brink of collapse. They breached our shields. He shouted in disbelief. We cannot let this happen. Prepare the escape pods. But it was too late. The Defiant's final shot hit the heart of the command ship, triggering a massive explosion that tore the flagship apart. The shockwave sent ripples through the Vixari fleet, their coordination unraveling as chaos spread among their ranks. We did it, Dr. Tan exclaimed, a smile breaking through her usually serious expression. The command ship is down. They're falling apart. Captain Lawson allowed himself a brief moment of relief, but he knew this wasn't the end. The Vixari fleet was still vast, and many of their ships remained operational. But without their leader and command ship, the Vixari were disoriented, and humanity had gained the upper hand. This is our moment, Lawson said, his voice filled with resolve. Let's finish this. The Aegis fleet rallied, taking advantage of the Vixari's confusion. The remaining ships of the enemy fleet were picked off one by one, their attacks scattered and weak. The tide of battle had turned in humanity's favor. As the last of the Vixari ships fell, the humans knew they had won, but the cost of victory was high. The war had taken its toll on both sides, and many lives had been lost. Yet, Earth had survived. The Vixari had underestimated humanity's strength, and now they knew the cost of underestimating the resilience of the human spirit. The final battle was over. The skies above Earth, once filled with the shadow of warships, now seemed strangely peaceful. The Vixari Empire, having overestimated their power and underestimated humanity, was in retreat. Their once imposing fleet had been shattered, and their command ship, the heart of their forces, lay in ruins. The human race had not only survived, they had won. Captain Mark Lawson stood on the observation deck of Earth's command center, looking out over the planet he had fought so hard to protect. The sun shone brightly over the horizon, casting its golden light across the land. It was a new day, but it was one earned through sacrifice and determination. Dr. Sarah Tan joined him, her expression thoughtful. "It's hard to believe it's finally over," she said quietly. "After everything, we actually did it." Lawson nodded, his gaze distant. "It's strange. It feels like a victory, but there's so much left to rebuild. So many lost lives." He paused, taking a deep breath. "But we've proved something. We've shown the galaxy that humanity will never give up." On the other side of the world, people were celebrating the news. The victory over the Vixari was being broadcast everywhere, and across the globe. Families were reunited, soldiers returned home, and nations began the slow process of healing. The war had left scars, but the spirit of humanity was stronger than ever. For the leaders of Earth, the work was far from over. Captain Lawson and Dr. Tan were part of a council tasked with ensuring that humanity was prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. The Vixari might be gone for now, but the galaxy was a vast, dangerous place, and humanity had only just proven itself. There would be more threats, but they now knew they had the strength to face them. "We can't just stop here," Lawson said to the council, his voice firm. "The Vixari might be defeated, but the universe is filled with dangers. We need to unite humanity and prepare for the future. We can't let this victory be a one-time thing." Dr. Tan, standing beside him, added, "We need to share what we've learned. Humanity is capable of great things, but we have to keep growing, keep innovating. We can't afford to get complacent." As the council discussed the future, Lawson stepped away from the meeting, walking outside to clear his mind. He found himself standing in a quiet park, surrounded by green spaces and the sounds of children laughing. Life was returning to normal, but the memories of the war were still fresh in his mind. He sat on a bench, gazing up at the sky. It had been a long road to victory. The lives lost, the battles fought, the decisions that had weighed heavily on his shoulders. They all seemed to converge in that moment. But despite everything, humanity had endured. Dr. Tan found him moments later, sitting down beside him. "You've done everything you could," she said, offering a reassuring smile. "Now it's time to focus on the future." Lawson glanced at her, his expression softening. "I hope we're ready. We've shown what we're capable of, but now we need to build on that. We have to make sure we don't forget what we've learned." They sat in silence for a while, watching the sun slowly sink lower in the sky. The world around them had changed, but it was also beginning to heal. The war was over, but the journey had just begun. Across the galaxy, the Vixari fleet was retreating into the far reaches of space, their empire broken. The message had been sent. Humanity was not to be underestimated. The universe had learned that Earth was a force to be reckoned with, and anyone who dared to threaten humanity would face the same fate as the Vixari. Yet, Lawson knew that Earth would not make the same mistakes as the Vixari. The war had taught humanity to come together, to fight as one. They had faced overwhelming odds and come out victorious, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to give up. As the night sky darkened, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if celebrating the new era humanity had entered. The war had ended, but the adventure was just beginning. There would be challenges, yes, But humanity had proven that no matter the odds, they would never back down. "We've won this battle," Lawson said quietly, looking up at the stars. "But the fight for the future is just beginning." And as Earth's leaders prepared for the challenges ahead, they knew one thing for certain: humanity was ready. The galaxy was a vast, uncertain place, but Earth had earned its place in it. And no matter what came next, the humans would face it together, stronger than ever before.